Mom. Take it away.
It's behind us.
Get us out of here.
Oh, man. New phone background incoming.
Need any welding work? I guess Corey has a little more time when he's not in the booth. I don't know, but man, that is ridiculous.
When did that happen?
I have no idea. When did he clean himself up? I feel like we saw him all day. Oh,
wow. Red Steel is upon us.
Yes,
well,
it is.
we have to somehow transition from that back down to the feature match area. And this time around, regional champion round, if you will. And let's take a look at what we do have going down in the feature. It is Ma Noah versus Arch Dota down there right now. Matchup-wise, something you might want to get used to. Is it versus Azorius is the matchup.
Yeah, and this is going to be, outside of the Is It mirrors, this is going to be the most common matchup that you see. Prowess versus the Azorius Omniscience deck. You know, the Omniscience deck just, you know, is an extremely degenerate deck. You kind of combo off and you kill people, and it's got, you know, one of the most important cards against the Corey Steelcutter decks in the temporary lockdown. So if you can find that temporary lockdown, or if you're on the play, the Omniscience deck is favored, especially in the game ones. Now after sideboard, it does get a lot more difficult for the Azorius Omniscience player because the Is It Prowess deck gets to board in more copies of Spell Pierces and Negates, and then all of a sudden you can't just rely on your turn 4 kill to actually carry you to victory.
Alpha, so I started game on that too.
Arch Omni on the deck box over there. Okay. And there it is.
Yep.
Red Steel, Corey Steelcutter.
But this was Ma on the draw here. No damage. Like ideally in this type of matchup, you kind of want to get a Storm Chaser's Talent in play turn 1, at least put some pressure in. But of course, we have seen the Steelcutter just, you know, build up damage out of nowhere. Like you have 2 creatures in play, you think you feel safe, and then out of nowhere you've taken 15.
Moment of truth for Arch.
This is a tough hand. If you look at Ma's hand, he can't even make a token next turn. That's a Monstrous Rage and a bounce spell and 2 stock ups.
Really? Speaking of, here's stock up for Arch.
And Arch just, you know, looking to try to assemble the combo. Some of the things that you're looking for, combo pieces, card draw effects, perhaps a temporary lockdown to get the cutter and maybe a token. Because if you're on Arch's side, you have to think that it's very likely that Ma is going to be able to make a token this turn. But he actually won't be. Look at his hand. Double Monstrous Rage and into the Flood Ma. I mean, this is such a slow start here from the Is It Prowess deck. And, you know, the Azorius Omniscience deck kind of feasts on slower starts like this.
Arch looking at the board and saying, I haven't even taken a point of damage here. I'm at 20. There's no board state to speak of on the other side.
Yeah, and he
about best case.
Yeah, resolve the stock up too. This is just everything that you want here if you're on the side of the Azorius Omniscience deck. Okay. Digging, digging, digging. All right, there is an Abuelas' Awakening in Arch's hand, so just needs to find the Omniscience and put it into the graveyard here.
Roiling Dragonstorm, land, go. Okay, this turn's got to be good here for Ma Noah, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, this is going to be a double Monastery Swift Spear turn here.
That works.
That is a ton of damage. So it's at least 4 damage, but I don't know if, does Ma have a 4th land here? It doesn't look like it. So you can either choose to just play Opt here just to get in for 3 extra points of damage, but there is also into the Flood Ma. If you want to play around potentially a temporary lockdown, it's like Ma really wants to find an island here. Does not find it. So he's going to get in for 6, but now then Arch can just simply just play that lockdown in hand if he needs. Or, I mean, if he casts this Moment of Truth, finds an Omniscience into the graveyard, likely going to be over.
What's the correlation on Omniscience battlefield win?
Often, if you can, basically if you can get, if you have a Meringue River Regent, like if you draw 2 of those and a Roiling Dragonstorm, that's the lock. Like you basically get to draw your entire deck because the 7 River Regent, second River Regent you play, you just bounce your other Regent, and every time you do that, the Roiling Dragonstorm gets picked up. So that's kind of the lock. There are times you can fizzle, although it is kind of tough. Although noting that Arch's hand, he only has the one extra copy of Roiling Dragonstorm here, so does need to find something off of that. Or
Here we go.
We'll see.
There's Omniscience on the battlefield. Another moment of truth.
okay.
But you see the temporary lockdown. That's really the key here, right? That'll just buy him so much time.
Right. Just needs to find some more card draw effects. What can you find here?
Some velocity, perhaps. 10 mana enchantment. It's simple. It's a simple one.
Just play all your spells.
Just you can play your stuff. Go.
Yeah. And there are some ways to try to interact this. If you get the Omniscience in play, if you have a removal spell, you can actually kill it while it's on the deck. So one common line that people actually make is play a second Omniscience as the first spell you play once the 1/1 Omniscience token is in play. Another innovation that these decks have made over the past few months is the addition of Scroll Shift. If you add Scroll Shift to your deck, when your Omniscience is a 1/1 and they try to Torch Tower it, you just blink your Omniscience and all of a sudden now it's an enchantment. It's much harder to kill.
There's that second copy of Omniscience you just mentioned, Paul. Backup plan acquired.
Okay, so this tells me that Arch actually just ran out of gas here, so no card draw effect. So
Interesting.
Ma's got to be thrilled. He actually gets to live here and
Yeah.
has a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance, but how does the hand match up? You see the Drake Hatcher there, double Monstrous Rage, into the Flood Maw, stock up,
Yeah.
and another into the Flood Maw.
Yeah, I mean,
Threat Light.
Threat Light, he's just got the Drake Catcher, which he's likely going to run out here. And I don't think you have a lethal attack if you try to bounce the lockdown. Let's see, if you bounce the lockdown, you do get Swift Spears in play. They do have haste. Then you
Double
have the Quarry
Monstrous
Steelcutter.
Rage?
So we got to do some math here. Although you also have to consider the fact that not only does Arch have a 1/1 token that he can block with, he's also got an Nephara's Dispersal in hand.
Right, so he can interact with something here.
Yeah. It's like, if you're on Ma's side, do you just go for the kill this turn?
There's into the Flood Maw.
Did he tap 2 mana for this? What's going on here?
Yeah, why did he? Yeah, he
Yeah,
pre-tapped the island.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right. He does have a bunch of Monstrous Rages in hand, so
Yes.
let's see. I mean,
2 in the hand and then drew one for the turn, too.
yeah, so if you're just going to go for it here, might as well just start things off with a Monstrous Rage and then see how Arch responds. So you get a 2/2, a 2/3, and a 2/3 that gets a Monstrous Rage trigger as well.
Yeah, I guess the...
So 5/4 Trampler. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage coming in.
There's a Dispersal.
Oh, just dispersaling it right away. Well, I was like, well, I can't kill you this turn.
Right, I can do a bunch more,
Yeah.
but not quite enough.
I mean, you can go for another Monstrous Rage, but
Right.
remember, the lockdown will come back into play next turn. But Ma does have the second copy of Into the Flood Ma, so somewhat interesting here.
This is a line.
But Arch does get a Surveil here. That's huge, right? He just wants to
Every
find
single
a river
card.
region or anything.
Bottom.
If Arch keeps something on top, that is bad news for Ma.
Noah's just praying for bottom here.
It looks like an Archaeologist.
Yeah, Pelagic Archaeologist.
Okay, well, I mean, that's better than a random draw probably, right? Because it does
Right.
dig you 4 cards deep for maybe a stock up. Like, if you find a stock up going, that's going to help out a ton.
So Noah's going to go ahead and play the other Monstrous Rage. So maximum damage this turn will come across, but it is not lethal.
It is not lethal.
What did it end up being? 9?
The token on the left is a 3/3, I believe. And then on the right, it's gotten 2 Monstrous Rage triggers.
And then it'll have the
So
plus
3,
1,
4,
plus 1.
3, 4 plus 3, so 6. Yeah, you're right, 9 damage.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Oh, kind of 4 on that. 2 prowess triggers, plus 1, plus 1, and it's a 1/1, so it's actually 4, so 10, right?
Was he at 13?
He was
Or
at 13.
12. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the monk gets a plus 1, plus 1, plus it's a plus 1, plus 1, and then 2 Monstrous Rage triggers for prowess is 4.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, the monk only got created after the second spell got cast.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, they counted it as 4, so we
Right.
maybe we missed something there, but
So Arch now going to be leaning on this Archaeologist here. What do we have? Oh, okay, founding the third path, sure.
Chapter 3. Yeah. So I target stock up. Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
And target
Okay.
stock up.
So that is a stock up.
Yeah.
And this one, you actually have to pay mana.
That's
for.
annoying. You have two omniscience in
Yeah.
play. Like, come on.
All right, here we go. I see a blue card. Oh, there's a River Regent. And most likely, that'll get it done here. Because even if founding the third path, the instant kill at this point here is basically you mill your opponent out by once you find 2 Meringue River Regents and founding the third path, you basically just deck your opponent.
I see.
Right, so, but the thing is, the founding the third path is in the graveyard. All you need to do is just find an Abuelos' Awakening, which is already in Arch's hand.
Yeah, and you see the River Regent hitting here, but there's only one around though, right?
Yep.
Okay, but one of the targets is going to hit the Archaeologist. Of course, the Roiling Dragonstorm comes back to hand because of the Regent.
Doesn't get the Regent there though, because it's non-spell. But you remember, you can just play Afara's Dispersal on the Regent again, and then just replay the Regent, which picks up the Roiling Dragonstorm and picks up your Archaeologist.
Not looking good for Manoa here. All right, there's the other one.
Stock up.
Oh, another stock up. Yeah, and
Yep.
this is just going to lock it up here.
Wow, down to 3.
Yeah, down to 3. But the thing is, you know, back in the day, these decks used to play Burst Lightning, but most decks have shifted over to Torch the Tower. So there's not any instant speed burn that Mod can play on his upkeep before he mills himself out here.
Yeah, not even like double burst lightning, that type of thing.
Right.
All right.
So Arch just going through the motions. Now with the double Regent here, I mean, Moss should know what's up here at this point, but maybe he just wants to see how much of the combo Arch is, you know, adept at playing, you know what I mean? Just like, how good is he with this? Like, just want to figure out how he's going to actually look to try to kill me here. But it's, you know, I'm going to draw my whole deck. You can probably even just demonstrate the loop at this point. It's like, hey, I'm going to draw my whole deck, and I'm going to reanimate my into the third path, and then I'm just going to continue bouncing it over and over again with my Regents. You have no cards left in your deck. Your turn.
Manoa does not look happy about the proceedings here.
Yeah, I mean, his hand was really rough, honestly, for this matchup.
So
It's just
slow.
when you look at that hand, you have such a low percentage chance to beat the Omniscience deck with an average draw. But of course, we are 3-1 at the Pro Tour. A minor sequencing error here while you're comboing off. I mean, this deck just requires lots and lots of game actions here. But honestly, he already has the 2 River Regents and an Awakening in hand. So you just, you know, get the Founding the Third Path in play, and then just get going with the mill already. If Arch has a counterspell in his deck, maybe he wants to find a counterspell, right? Like a Confounding Riddle or something like that. If that's, you know, some decks play 1 copy of that.
Mill 4 live.
Mill you for 4.
Mill 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Balance.
Yeah, bounce
And
those
there's the
two.
second Regent.
There's the loop.
So,
I know,
Yeah.
but future match. It's more fun. Okay.
oh, that was nice. Manoa says, I know how it works, but it's more fun for us, actually.
Is it more fun?
Mill 4.
Definitely.
Well, okay. It's more
Look at
fun.
this.
It's
This
more,
is cool.
It's more fun when you just flip the deck into the graveyard.
Yeah,
You just,
that is fun.
there you
There
go.
we
There you
go.
go.
Manoa.
There you go, Ma.
Coverage all-star.
All right.
Plays it out for our benefit and then knows exactly what you're thinking, Paul.
Oh,
That was
man,
awesome.
I love it.
That
go.
was great. Game 2. Players will get to consult sideboards. Do you anticipate major percentage shifts post-board?
Oh, absolutely. I think game 1, the Azorius Omniscience deck is firmly favored. Maybe like, I think Corey mentioned it somewhere around 60-40, something like that. It is far closer post-board. I would even say it's possible that the Is It Prowess deck might be a slight favorite after sideboard. Not only do you get to have a bunch of VVs out of the sideboard, which lets you play around temporary lockdown a little bit better, but also you just have, instead of Torch to Towers, you have access to actual counter magic to prevent your opponents from comboing off.
Flogi Archaeologist starts it off for Arch this time. Is this another slow start here for Manoa?
I will say you are not in as big of a rush here
Okay.
to win after the sideboard game. As long as you just make sure you keep up mana before they get to their 4th mana, right? You just like, oh, if there's an Omniscience in the graveyard, like you don't just tap out for something. You just, maybe if you keep the counterspell up. So not as big of a rush here.
There's Vivi.
Oh, yep, there is Vivi. Does Arch have a removal spell? No. No removal spell here for the Vivi. So we've seen it. We saw last round.
Put on your
Vivi
seatbelt.
untap, win the game. What can you do here, Ma?
Yeah, there may be a bit of watch this coming your way. Let's see.
So there's a Storm Chaser's Talent and a Stock Up. Now Arch does have a Spell Pierce, which would be pretty good here against the Stock Up if that's what Ma wants to lead off with. The Enduring Curiosity wouldn't do too much here just because you haven't cast a spell yet. Although you can lead things off with a Storm Chaser's Talent, then play the Enduring Curiosity. Now remember, like Vivi's ability, you don't have to tap it for mana. It's just, you just get to use it once.
You get to pay 0.
Right. But of course, the Archaeologist also in play to block, so.
You can see Arch up there just kind of smiling. Not much you can do at this point.
I would say this is
Decide to use a Spell Pierce or not. That's your...
Yeah, pretty good Spell Pierce target, especially because you have a negate in your hand too. Yeah, trigger on the stack. You want to Spell Pierce it. You do not want the Vivi to get the 1 mana, the 1 counter, because then you can pay for the Spell Pierce.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing to say the least. So, Spell Pierce does take care of Stock Up.
Looks like he's using the mana from the Vivi to keep up 1 mana here. Because remember, you can only use Vivi's mana ability on your turn. So, if you want to be representing a Spell Piercer here or Into the Floodmaw or something, you want to keep your land untapped.
So Arch ends up at 18, facing down a 2-powered Vivi, but escapes the turn.
Yeah, escapes the turn, but every turn this Vivi stays in play, it just can really get out of hand. I mean, Storm Chaser's Talent can get back the Stock Up that's in the graveyard.
Another Roiling Dragonstorm here.
Yeah, and Arch needs 2 pieces of the combo. Doesn't even have 1 right now, right? You need to find Omniscience, put it into the yard, and find Awakening here. Ooh, and Ma finds a Soul Guide Lantern. Nice little sideboard tech card here to deal with the Abuelos' Awakening. Of course, Temporary Lockdown also deals with that too, so you can try to set that up too if you need. Okay, so he takes 1.
Thinking has been called.
Yeah, well, he does have Negate up.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, since there's no Omniscience in the graveyard, I think you just let it resolve and just have it stay in play, especially because you do have that lockdown in your hand.
Both of these players traveling a good long distance to come here to Las Vegas. Manoa came from South Korea, and London, UK for Arch.
I had to come pretty far too. Went on the 215,
15 minutes.
took a 20-minute Uber. Yeah.
Be in combat? Okay. Combat?
All right, combat's going to happen.
Could just play out the Enduring Curiosity here, right? Just pay 3 mana plus tap a land here, 4 mana. You're still immune to Temporary Lockdown, your 2 biggest threats.
Blue.
And you still get to draw a card, so I do like this.
Blue mana. Or blue. 3 blue mana.
Make 3 blue mana. This is after blocks. There's Curiosity.
And Arch doesn't really have anything he can do here, so he's going to take 1.
2. So
Or excuse me, 2 damage.
And that's a card.
And draw a card. Yeah, look at how much worse Lockdown looks after sideboard.
Yeah.
Right? He might have to fire it off anyways, just to get the Storm Chaser's Talent off the battlefield and the Lantern. At some point, you could scroll shift it to get more triggers off of the Roiling Dragonstorm.
Right. Well, there's the lockdown, but it's, as you said, it's not the devastating play that it would.
Right, you still have to deal with the a 3/6 VV and an Enduring Curiosity with an empty board.
Yeah, the two best things.
Right.
What's left over.
Now, if you're Mod, you just sack the Lantern here to draw a card. He's got an Into the Flood Maw. Could, I guess, just fire that off on the lockdown.
Everything will just stay the same if you do
Right.
that.
Right. Or you could just wait. But I guess if you wait, the Dragon Storms come back into play. And
They
then
do,
you get to
and
draw
the Otter.
Yeah. So it looks like he's doing it with the trigger on the stack here, so nothing gets exiled.
Oh, but there's the
Okay.
negate to protect.
There is the negate. Draw a card. At least he gets the. Oh, I guess no fish.
That was
All right.
Steel Cutter.
Okay. Would need another card to go with it, but yeah. I mean, this is 8 damage and 2 cards. No, 9 damage with the Steel Cutter. Also, you can just play Steel Cutter and equip. That is an option.
You can do that.
That is a legal line.
Do not have to wait for the free.
Is that a second Steel Cutter?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my. Is that just lethal? It has to be. Wait, no. 6, 4, 8, 2 pings. Yeah, I think that's lethal.
From 14?
From 14, yeah. You play both the Steel Cutters, that's 2 damage from the VV.
Yeah,
VV becomes a 6/6.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
all you
12
need.
damage, and you get the 2/2 token.
That's like
yeah.
easily enough.
Right.
And since he's tapped out,
Yeah.
Manoa just gets to say, watch this.
VV getting it done once again.
Wow, super impressive. Dodging temporary
Yep.
lockdown, providing extra mana, extra damage, all of it.
Table out.
Wow. Game 3 incoming now between these two.
So, somebody in the chat goes, Steel Cutter has equip? Can you, like, even if it didn't have equip, it's just, it would be, you're not playing that card for the actual manual equip cost.
Ready.
You can see both players on
Table out,
7
that's
cards
right.
here, Manoa and Arch Dota.
And Ma, once again, with a ton of good sideboard options here in hand. You've got the VV, the Ral.
Sure.
Ral is also really hard to deal with.
Finally, the turn 1 Swift Spear for Manoa. He's been looking for that the whole time.
Yeah.
Arch on the other side is going to Roiling Dragonstorm their temporary lockdown away. Wow.
And if you're Ma, you have to know that Arch at least has 1 lockdown in hand,
Yeah, they have to have
given
an
the
extra.
discard.
Especially I mean, they're literally staring down a Swift Spear.
Yeah.
Is that Opt? Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
That is a very cool version of Opt.
Keeps it on top.
And draws it. It's an island.
Actually, I think there was a slight sequencing thing here. You always want to lead with river, the Verge, and not the Mountain. The reason being is it still taps for red mana, but if you draw an island off the top, then all of a sudden you have the ability. This turn he could have gone, you know, Opt and then played another blue spell this turn.
Talent
right,
or something.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very little, but it does matter.
Arch is going to go for stock up, and they get their pick. What do we see here? Oh, wow, 2 more temporary lockdowns for Arch. The big Overlord, an Archaeologist, and a Get Lost make up the hand, but it's about to be added to.
Pass. 7 right. 7.
So Ma has to be really, really aware here of just the lockdown. But I think it's just, you just run out the VV again, right? There's just, you can't really get punished for it too badly. And you're certainly not interested in just playing a pair of Storm Chaser's Talent. Look at that. Wow, that thing just
That's slammed.
flew out onto the battlefield.
Manoa knowing exactly what he wants to do that turn, and it's cast VV.
Are we going to see some red splashes for Lithomantic Barrage now out of the sideboard?
Oh, yeah.
VV has been extremely impressive so far.
Very much so. Another Roiling Dragonstorm here for Arch as they look at the possibilities.
Yeah, I think at this,
Seen so many cards.
yeah, you're just,
Wow, second lockdown.
it's kind of a race now. You're just trying to assemble your combo, I think. Okay,
that's
well, there it
get
is.
lost.
That is an answer. That is certainly an answer, but
Thank you.
Ma certainly has the ability to use those map tokens as well, right? You can still just use that to try to sculpt your draws, put some extra counters here on the Swift Spear, and this turn you can just play the Ral, right? Like there's not even an Omniscience in the graveyard. I think you just play the Planeswalker, and Arch probably has, what, 2, maybe 3 copies of Get Lost Max at a sideboard?
Okay.
There's Ral Crackling Wit.
You can make another Prowess token here if you like.
14.
And a chip for 2. Go.
Right.
Still, Arch has had a lot of time here. They're really... Big sigh there from Arch. They did not like what they saw.
I mean, Untapped Land is not terrible. Like, if you want to play, for example, Temporary Lockdown this turn, it's not the worst, right? You play the Lockdown, you get the Prowess creature. You just don't want any Prowess creatures in play at this point. And you also get to cleanly get rid of the map tokens, right? And then you follow that up with an Archaeologist, so you still have something in play. Helps you find your combo. You have the Abuelo's Awakening. So, I mean, I don't think this is... Obviously, Ral is very annoying, and you have to find an answer, but I feel like Arch is definitely not out of it here.
Yeah, I think Arch is trying to avoid, you know, those explosive oops, I died turns.
Right.
And doing a good job so far.
Oh, finds a Get Lost.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, all right. So now you found an answer for a Ral. Okay.
Oh, Get Lost
right.
doing work here.
Yeah.
We don't have any more. Yeah.
There's speed bumps.
4 map tokens now.
But again, any turn that Manoa decides to start burning map tokens is one where Arch says, I can probably not die in this turn.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's good setup, it's good value, it adds up, but...
But Ma does have lots of mana and a Monstrous Rage in hand, so I mean...
Okay.
Could get close, right?
So is Arch just trying to set up for a temporary lockdown that actually kills the thing that they care about?
Exactly. You just want to have, like... you basically want to play a lockdown and have an empty board. And the fact that he was able to find that Get Lost was so big.
So big.
Dealing with both the VV and the Ral here.
Arch has discarded 2 temporary lockdowns, by the way, this game. So I don't know if that means that Ma says, they're just off of that plan, or there's probably the third.
Yeah. Ma has to be pretty careful here. Again, I don't know that there's going to be enough here for lethal. So now we're looking at 4 damage coming in. Okay, yeah, going for a map token. Activation.
On the Swift Spear.
What is that? A land? Shivan Reef. Okay. Guess you can do it again.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was describing, right? Arch is like, sure, not dead. Every turn counts so big on Arch's side.
Okay, getting an extra power. So now both of the creatures are 3-powered creatures. So that's 6 damage. If you cast the Monstrous Rage, that's 3, 4, 5 damage. So 11 damage, and then you play another spell, that's 13 damage.
Wow.
And of course, there's 3 toughness on the other side that can block. So it's not quite lethal. Unless Ma had double Monstrous Rage, but we know he doesn't.
Is there a world here where Arch takes a ton of damage, but then they get to untap, play that temporary lockdown, and actually be stable? Like, Ma has to really plan around that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You see the immediate
and Ma being patient here, I actually think if I'm Ma, I probably want to keep using map tokens here. At least one more. Maybe keep up Spell Pierce, but it's like, you know that it's so likely that they have a temporary lockdown here, right? They discarded 2 copies already. So might as well try to get some extra value here, hit a land or find a good spell like a Corey Steelcutter, but keeps 2 mana. What do you have though?
Especially with
what are you gonna do with your mana is my question. It's like, why don't you use the map tokens here? You still get to keep up Spell Pierce.
It's not like Arch has much of a choice here.
Right, because he revealed a Shivan Reef, right? So we don't know what the top card is on Ma's deck.
Yeah. But we're going to see temporary lockdown, and it's going to be very effective.
Yeah.
I mean, everything,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's going to get everything. And
Like
Arch
actual every permanent on
and
board
Arch is
outside of the
still
win.
at a pretty healthy life total here. Now, Moss still has a Storm Chaser's talent, which you can play, activate, get back like an opt, I suppose. But yeah, this is big.
Everything. And the maps are
Right,
gone.
and the map tokens are gone, which is why I really, really wanted Ma to at least use one more activation of the map there.
It was another Spell Pierce on
Yeah.
top.
Oh, a second Spell Pierce that turn would have been so backbreaking, right? Being able to counter that lockdown.
It looks like that's what he was representing,
Right.
right? Double blue, but
It's just
but
like you
Arch
have no
just
choice,
has
though.
No choice.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, it's time to start building a board back here for Manoa. So a
Right.
Prowess Otter.
Prowess Otter, get back probably an opt and pass,
And
something
just-
like that.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you just get it to the last level, right? And then every time you cast a spell, you get to pump out some prowess tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And I like opt just so you can keep the mana up, cast it end of turn. Also, you know, with opt, if you do have a bunch of instants with the steel cutter in place, sometimes you can make a token on your opponent's turn.
I will say these Spell Pierces are starting to fade.
Yep.
And then you just passed. Right, moment of truth. So your spell pierces are pretty bad. Do you want to just fire it off now, just when you can get anything?
I'd be feeling a lot of pressure
Right?
to do that.
Yeah.
Because you cannot counter a 4-mana spell
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's just Arch is going to play around the spell pierces whenever they can. So
Right.
just fire it off to get something.
Right.
And you got the second copy later, so.
I think you give Arch credit if you're sitting in Manoa's seat to not just run into a random or a one-off spell pierce here.
Right.
The second one, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
3.
3
Yeah,
cards
I
left to
mean,
pen
if
for
if
Ma.
Ma finds a land, go to level 3 and play opt, right? That's an extra prowess token, so that's something. Okay, looks like a Roiling Dragonstorm. Yep. Does have the Awakening. If Arch can just find an Omniscience, then
Yeah,
just
that-
put it into the yard.
I don't know if Arch shaves Omniscience post board or how that whole thing works,
Yeah.
but we haven't seen one,
Oof.
and they are a lot of the way through.
This is savage.
What was it?
You Arch blinked the temporary lockdown, so all the Roiling Dragonstorms for a brief moment comes back onto the battlefield
That's
here.
3 of them?
So you just get to just draw a ton of cards here, and Ma just has no pressure left over.
And you get a card?
You get a ton of cards.
Well, you get a card at the end of it, I mean, like an actual...
oh, with the actual scroll ship, yes.
Good Lord. That's so many cards.
Yeah, that is just way, way too many.
And then on top of it, it takes out the 2 permanents
Yeah.
that were relevant for Ma.
So if you're on Ma's side, you got to go, okay, well, maybe a steel cutter off the top. Play the steel cutter, play the opt, find the stock up, right? It's like there are sequences here that can maybe get Ma back into this, but it's tough. VV, Ral.
Let's see if Ma can find something.
All right, it's going to fire off that opt here.
Still hope. Bottom. Another op.
Still digging. Still got to keep
These type
firing
of decks
these
can
off.
really string you along. You know? Keep going. Opt again. Maybe. I think it's a fairly narrow subset of cards here.
Yeah, it's a stroke.
Oh, okay.
And it's a good card in the matchup, but still just the longer this game goes and no pressure here, it just, you have to favor Arch's side at this point. Stock up, scroll shift, River Regent. Oh my!
This is incredible. Arch,
So Ma's just like, come on!
Arch
This is
wants to
so
see
many cards.
all the cards.
So what is this? So basically, Arch gets to look at 7 cards and discard 3 cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 triggers.
3 triggers.
3 Dragonstorm. Yeah. So 1,
Yeah.
2.
At this point, Arch can almost hard cast Omniscience. He's gonna have so many cards.
That's funny.
Also, Arch also brought in Overlord of the Mistmores.
Yes.
I'm actually curious how many copies of Azorius are even left after the sideboard. It's possible Arch
Of
just
Omniscience?
Yeah. It's possible Arch just sideboards into mostly just an Azorius control deck, right?
That's what I
Where
was
you're just
wondering
like,
too.
hey, look, I've got Get Losts, I've got Lockdowns, right? I can win with Overlord of the Mistmores. I can just win that way.
River Regents
Because
attacking.
Arch has gone through more than half their deck at this point.
That's
There
what
is
I
some.
was saying.
All right, there is at least one Omniscience in
Okay,
the deck.
there
it
is one. And you see the Abuelo's Awakening, though that will be a little later here. And Arch says, I'm going to go to discard Fallaci Archaeologist.
Too many cards.
And another land off the top here.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
just pure misery. And he also chose to keep the Disdainful Stroke, which at this point will hit something, but it doesn't look
It'll counter the Awakening.
right.
So I suppose Arch won't win instantly next turn.
Right, so instead you lose to the Reaver Regent
And
all
the
other
stock
stuff.
up and
Yeah.
all the other things, yeah.
Yeah, you're just overwhelmed at that point. Come on, Noah. Have a sip of water. Like, this is the point of the game where you can relax a little bit because you know that your chances of winning are extremely narrow.
Right.
And if you are to win, it's really nice. You don't have to, you get to pretend like your opponent has 7 lands in hand. You know,
Yeah.
because it's not like you get to play around stuff.
At some point, you actually kind of throw the playing around anything out the window, right?
Right.
It's just like, that's kind of the hallmark of a great Magic player. But when you're this far behind, you're just, I hope you don't have anything.
I mean, I know some players who start the game that way, but don't recommend it.
Arch playing this very, very patiently. That's 3 Awakenings on top. Probably going to get a second copy of Awakening and has a negate. So now really has the ability to play Awakening next turn and keep up Counterspell mana. Actually, if you just get to 10 mana, you can play Awakening, keep up negate, and play Awakening again if needed. As long as you can find land number 10.
Library starting to get a little low for Arch, but they...
Yeah, here's the thing though. It's like you don't even necessarily, especially given that Ma has no resources, you just get 3 dragons in play and just say go, right? You don't have to get too scared about decking yourself or what have you. It's just find the River Regents, play an Overlord, and then just win that way. You can even use Abuelos' Awakening on the Overlord.
Is that another Shivan Reef? Oh, no.
Yeah, this is basically just over.
Now we're in the how much pain, you know, of watching your opponent make game actions over and over and over while you just get to do nothing.
All right, it's
Come
time
on,
for the
that's it.
stroke, I suppose. Or maybe you let it resolve and just...
And hope that they have one play that you can nab. Yeah.
I don't know, Marshall.
Yeah, the 6-spell hand may have something to say about that. Yes, we're counting libraries, though. That's probably 15-ish.
It's like, do you counter this or just say, okay, all right, gonna go for the counter. Arch actually does have land number 10 here, so can let that resolve and then play another Awakening and then see what Ma has. If Ma has another Disdainful Stroke, you can negate that back. Actually, did Arch not play a land for their turn?
Has
I
Ma
see the
tapped
plains.
mana for this Disdainful Stroke, or?
Oh, no.
I mean,
Omniscience isn't playing both sides? Yeah?
I thought that Arch was waiting for Manoa to tap mana, because it's just
Yeah.
kind of how it goes, but that wasn't
Right.
the case. At any rate,
Yeah, Ma's got all the lands. Yeah, it should cast tap your mana here.
probably go ahead and pay. There you go. In the meantime, an Omniscience is on the battlefield.
Yep.
And Ma is probably at the stage also of just thinking like, what if you went to threat light? What if you didn't leave enough
What if you
combo
accidentally
pieces?
boarded out all
Right,
your
like something like
cards?
that. You know, because sometimes people do go, okay, yeah, cool, you got it, I scoop. And it's like, you know what? Like, what'd you do with the sideboard to get to this point? I want to see.
I assume that's an Overlord.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yep, it's an Overlord
Of the Mistmores.
of the
yeah.
Mistmores with a negate. There's a Meringue River regent still here. You could use that to bounce the Overlord, replay the Overlord, get more tokens.
Yeah. At this time, Arch just doesn't want to draw too many more cards. I mean, they're fine. They've got 15 or whatever, but just you want power on the board, start turning stuff sideways.
Or
wait.
wants more cards.
Oh, we're gonna fly pretty close to the sun here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you need.
Maybe there's just a combo there.
Yeah. Why did we play the Overlord of the Mistmores then?
Right, because now you lose the
tokens. Not that it matters too much here, of course.
Right. This is mostly academic, but we have seen things get weird.
Yep.
But this is one of those, like, you're so far ahead.
Right.
It really doesn't matter. No, you make infinite tokens now.
Okay.
Yeah. You make infinite flyers, and you have 2 Meringue River Regents in play.
And then so just one turn attack.
Yeah, exactly. And you're at 11. Like, what can Ma do here?
Right through infinite creatures.
Yeah.
Ma says, how many you want?
Can we get a little piece of paper with the infinity sign? I think you
can
have to
do
choose
infinity.
a number.
You do.
have to choose a number. Okay, fine. 1 trillion.
Yes, yes, Mono, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So there is.
that is awesome. I mean, Mono is losing this
6,500,000,000
game and this match badly and still having fun with it, still making it exciting for us here in the booth and you at home. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It's hard to do that when you're losing.
Oh, that's a stock up, Marshall.
Don't even. I mean, play it, but don't even.
Hey, what if there's a fire magic?
How about
All right,
negate?
he's like, nope.
Spell Pierce, make you pay. Yeah, tap your lands. And then he's going to concede.
Yeah, okay.
Good game.
Monstrous Rage or Creature, probably. Go Monstrous Rage or Creature. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Monstrous Rage.
That's definitely happening here.
Sure.
Yep. Oh, before damage.
Yep.
Yes, Mono. Yes. So awesome. Great match. Arch Dota picks up the win in impressive fashion. That took a good 3-game match, but really interesting to see how things played out.
Yeah.
In the late stages, particularly of Game 3 post-board.
Yeah, I really liked Arch's kind of approach there, especially in the post-board games. Not really doing, because Game 1, it's kind of, I just need to survive. I know you have almost no interaction for me to kind of go for my combo. But once you go into sideboarded games, that's not the case, right? Because Ma's going to have counter spells and stuff. So really just focusing on the control plan. Just like, okay, I can discard some lockdowns. I'm going to take some damage. I just need to play the board carefully, continue sculpting the perfect hand. And then once you got that lockdown going with the scroll shift and the triple dragon storms, it's just like, you have so many cards, it doesn't even matter. And he went for the combo like on what, turn 15 of that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, you might as well just be playing any control deck where you just insert random win condition here. And in this case, it was the Omniscience combo.
Yeah, players that know their deck really well, they'll do that. I got the Boa Constrictor going. You're not getting out of this, and I'm going to play it as safe as possible. So a good win there for Arch Dota. Manoa gets to keep battling. However, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, we've got more round 5 action here from Vegas. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to coverage here at Pro Tour Final Fantasy. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. And take a look at all the action outside. But where you really want to be is in here with us. We're at the convention center for Magic Con. Tons of people around, celebrities, everything's happening here in Vegas. And we've got the Pro Tour happening right now. You may not know about that, but you're about to find out. We're in round number 5. We're in standard. We already covered draft earlier in the day. We're going to repeat this, by the way, tomorrow, and then we'll have top 8 Sunday. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. We're happy to have you along. We get to watch Mono Red play against the same deck that we just saw. There's Pedro Perrini from Brazil. Pedro straight up won the RC there. So that is one way that you can qualify for a Pro Tour like this, is just by straight up winning. You take a look at Joel Doolittle here from the United States on Azorius Omniscience. Qualified via Regional Championship Portland, where he managed to win 9 rounds in a row, and even a round on the next day for 9 in a row total. He said he scraped into the top 8 to get the qualification and then immediately lost, but still.
The qualification is really the only thing that matters for most people. It's all about just getting the opportunity to play in the Pro Tour.
Not a fan of money.
I mean,
Prizes, fame.
I think if you ask most people, it's the qualification.
See, hired Claw here for Pedro. So much different matchup here. Well, maybe not that much different, but Azorius Omniscience versus Mono Red Aggro. And as is custom, this version of Mono Red really is tuned for maximum speed, maximum damage.
Yeah, there's so much more pressure that comes out of the Mono Red decks compared to the Prowess decks. The Prowess decks have actually kind of slowed down. There are many lists that don't even play Monastery Swiftspear anymore, and so you're really only down to the 4 1-mana Prowess cards, whereas Mono Red's playing 10 1-drops, a bunch of 2s, and also it's got a fair number of 3-mana creatures as well, cards like Screaming Nemesis as a nice way to dodge lockdown. And, you know, the combination of Screaming Nemesis into Witchstalker's Frenzy, or in this case, Pedro Perrini playing 2 copies of Charring Bite, Twin Maw Stormbrood. So that's another way to, you know, finish your opponents off by dealing 5 damage to your Screaming Nemesis.
That's right. We see it dealing 5 damage to the Oracle here. That's going to clear the way for damage, though. Twin Maw Stormbrood. Better known, perhaps, as Charring Bite?
Yeah, in Limited, it's close. But in Constructed, yeah, absolutely.
Not as close.
Absolutely. It is basically, you know, we've seen variations of this in the past, like Roast, but in this case here, you have the Charring Bite.
Right. So there's a temporary lockdown. That is exactly what Doolittle needed to do. You see no third land drop here for Perrini for a couple of turns, but he does have the Manifold Mouse back up.
And Charring Bite does get shuffled back into the deck here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eu castei, deixei aqui, só que na verdade isso aqui é embaralhado, né? Isso aí já faz os 2 turnos.
Ah, isso aqui deveria ter sido embaralhado. Tá bom. Tu sabe a posição de alguma
Looks
carta?
like we have a Portuguese-speaking judge on hand. That's
Eu liguei, na verdade.
so always
Tá,
nice.
então essa última carta. Tá. Então essa última carta não vai ficar, porque tu sabe a posição dela. Essa daqui tu vai embaralhar. Tu vai recebendo uma advertência por violação de regra do jogo.
Tá, mas na verdade ela não embaralha a última também?
Tem razão. Ela embaralhou.
Então você embaralha.
Just to explain to you in English, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be shuffled. We're going to shuffle it.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm going to give you 2 extra minutes.
You heard that from the judge for Joel and our benefit in English.
Yeah, missing that land drop really, really big here from Pedro's side. But hey, you know, with the Manifold Mouse, always super scary, right? At any point, they can just have a monstrous rage in their hand and just kill you out of nowhere with the double strike and trample. But Pedro was on 6 here. Does he have the Awakening here? Nope, just getting that off the battlefield.
Jeez, that's a lot of respect for the Manifold
Oh,
Mouse.
yeah.
Just lock it down.
All right, land number 3. Is this a Screaming Nemesis?
Yep, it sure is. And that's it. It's going to get in there.
And this deck is just so much better at dealing with the lockdown because you just have so many haste creatures that can just keep piling in for more damage even after a lockdown. So now, I mean, let's just say Pedro has a 5 damage spell in hand and Joel has no interaction. I mean, that would technically be lethal next turn.
GG. Screaming Nemesis is the bane of control players.
And there is a Witch Stalker Frenzy.
Really?
Pedro's hand. So what Pedro could do here is
And he
attack
can
for
actually
3.
do it all.
After damage,
But still in combat.
pay 3 mana, 5 damage to Screaming Nemesis.
So now Pedro's just like tap out. Just do
Please.
some things.
Yeah. Play
No-
2 Dragon Storms and pass.
Right.
And don't keep up at blue.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
See one Dragon Storm.
Yeah, Joel. The thing is, there's not that much interaction in this deck. It's 3 or 4 copies of Lockdown and 4 FR is Dispersal. That's basically it.
There's 2
Oh,
of
there
them.
is the second one. Can he find a Dispersal
Yeah,
here?
he really needs
Just to
it.
not. Oh, I don't think he has anything here.
But Pedro, how does he figure out? I mean, you still get in the 3 either way.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets bounced, it gets bounced, and you just play it again next turn, right?
Plus, I mean, is Joel really going to take the 3?
Right. Yeah, you just attack.
Next 3?
Take 3,
5.
then
All right,
to me, that's
here it
green
is.
light.
Combo.
End of combat?
Yep. It's no longer attacking.
He found number 4.
Right.
Land number 4 anyway, but.
Oh, he's like, do I just go Manifold Mouse now? But remember, Joel has an Omniscience in the graveyard. If he has an Abrosis Awakening, I don't think you can afford to pass here. I think you have to go for the Witch Stalker Frenzy. Yeah.
And that is going to do it. 5 more damage
Tail B
is what we call Exaxes. Wow, through 2 temporary lockdown.
Right.
And it was game 1. I mean, that's impressive stuff for Mono Red. Game number 2 incoming. And it does look like Pedro is down to 6 cards.
We'll note that the matchup doesn't get that much better, though, for Mono Red after the sideboard. Just because Mono Red doesn't really have too many ways to interact with the combo, right? So it's kind of a racing situation. But I imagine Joel in the sideboard is going to be bringing in more removal effects for this matchup. So, when you look at the Prowess matchup versus Azorius,
Yeah.
I think the Prowess gets percentage points. Here, I think the Mono Red deck actually loses percentage points after sideboard.
It's one of the big downsides of playing any monocolored deck is that you just cut yourself off of so many options out of the sideboard.
Right.
You do get consistency, fewer lands. It's a trade-off.
And Archaeologist, some decks do play this card. A nod to the aggressive decks in the format. It helps you fill up your graveyard. Hopefully you can get an Omniscience in there. Also, just blocks, right? Just, hey, blocks the Monastery Swiftspears, blocks these Heartfire heroes. And even now, it's like you can't even attack.
Yeah.
Right? Just completely brick-walled Pedro's assault here.
Yeah, that Archaeologist milled 3 nothings and just picked up a +1/+1 counter instead.
And I think Joel has a lockdown here in hand. Curious if he's going to run it out or, yeah. Joel's just like, if I have a lockdown, I'm just going to play it. I don't want you to go, Manifold Mouse plus Mountain into Monstrous Rage. Like, let's just keep my life total as high as possible.
How about 20?
Yeah. Ooh, Tersa Light Shatter here from Pedro. That's a 1-of in the deck.
That looks like it has haste.
Yeah, another 3. That's basically the 5th 3-mana haste creature in the deck. And only discarding 1 card.
17.
Not what you want to see generally on the other side. You're like, oh, wow, your hit must be pretty good.
Hired Claw hits the yard. And then Tersa gets in for 3. Down to 17 falls Joel.
Scroll Shift in the yard. There is an Omniscience in hand, but what is Joel working with here?
Mentioned it before, but both of these players are with us in this PT via regional championship. And if you're looking to qualify for a pro tour, that is definitely one of the ways to go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Pedro, in fact, has done it twice now. He has 3 regional championship top 8s already, so he's kind of crushing it over there in Brazil.
He really is, and that's a tough place to do it. There's a lot of really good players out of Brazil.
Yeah, we got Paulo even playing in this tournament.
Yeah, speaking of really good players from Brazil.
One of the greatest. Okay. Getting in for 4, and I'm really curious what Joel has here. I see a white spell.
Paul, we're going to get a chance to see Paulo next round, by the way.
Ooh, his deck is nice. That's all I'm going to say.
You want to see a GOAT tier player play? Like I saw Paulo was so nice. I gave him a hug. He's been playing for the past few years, and it was so great to see him. He's got a real demeanor to him. But, oh, there's
He's,
Beza. But funny part about Paulo is he's such a chill person, but he's a killer. Like, you sit across from him at Magic, and it's like, you are not coming out of that without a fight.
I mean, he's a world champion, multiple Pro Tour champion. He's
GOAT tier.
He top eights a Pro Tour every 4 Pro Tours. Just
Yes,
think about
on
it.
average, yeah. That's an incredible average.
All right, well, Beza is huge
Beza.
here. I mean,
Beza,
it
the
is
brick wall.
one of the absolute best cards here against Mono Red. Wow, and the Lithomantic Barrage here from Pedro to deal with the Beza. Fully expecting that, and now, I mean, these tokens are basically just chump blocking, right? And if Pedro has a Monstrous Rage, that can also get in for a ton.
See what we can take away from the blocks here from what Joel does. Is
I mean,
there
you just
another
block both, I
lockdown
think.
coming?
Yeah, I imagine you just block both and try to keep your life total high.
Well, you got to be happy with Beza.
Yeah.
8 a card, gained life, blocks.
Right, absolutely. That's a Meringue
Maybe there's
River
another
Regent.
one?
Okay,
Okay.
now using the draw 3, discard 1 mode here. Does have that Omniscience. Oh, and finds Abuela's Awakening here. So now you can
Wow.
discard Omniscience, has the combo, and sitting at 17 life, you got to feel like you have at least 1 turn here, right?
Difficult to die from 17.
Yeah.
Not impossible,
No, no, no.
but difficult.
Given that I don't see any of the mice in play, it's a lot harder,
Right.
right?
Double
Because you need
strike.
that double strike, trample, monstrous rage
Right.
stuff to kind of get it done.
Well,
Okay. Give it haste probably. Hit for 4, 5, 8 damage here.
hey, that's a pretty productive turn.
Yeah,
but
He's tapped out now.
Pedro's not going to be happy to see what happens here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Perfect. I'm at 9.
Yep. Joel's like, all right, it's time to.
Did you get the tone? Perfect. I'm at 9.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever. Are you done? Are you done? No?
Watch
All right,
this.
here it is. It's time.
There's Abuela's Awakening. Okay, we have Omniscience in play.
That is a very long.
Wow.
Could have maybe trimmed the edges a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and he already has both river regents in hand. So that means Joel's just going to draw his entire deck here.
Oh, he's already got that all set up.
He's already got the 2 river regents, so you can just go bounce one of your things, play it, replay the Dragonstorm, bounce my Dragonstorm, bounce my dragon, bounce another one of your things, just do the loop over and over
And then
again.
just do that.
And that's just game.
Yeah, and that is going to be game. Pedro Perrini has to scoop him up as Joel Doolittle picks up game number 2. Speed bumps aplenty there from Joel. He was able to advance his game plan. Beza, perhaps the most important card there for him,
Yeah,
Table Bravo,
absolutely.
start of
outside
game
of the combo.
But now you're the mono red player on the play.
And it looks like Joel's on 6.
Okay.
I assume this deck mulligans a fair bit.
It looks like Pedro's also on 6.
Yes,
So
there's 6. There's Hired Claw there for
yeah,
Pedro
and I see
Perrini.
2 Abuela's Awakening. Don't want to draw those in multiples usually. First land was a village here. I wonder if Pedro has a mountain. Okay, and no creature here. So can't cast spells. You can only cast creature spells with that Rock Face Village in play. Okay, and now there's the Archaeology. Yeah, can't even put a +1/+1 counter on the Hired Claw.
All right. Well, no +1/+1 counter on the Archaeologist this time because
Found something.
it was the goods. It was temporary lockdown.
Needed a mountain here, but it looks like, I mean, there is a cost of playing all of these non-mountain lands. There's the
Yes.
Sanctuary. I believe Pedro has a second Sanctuary. So maybe if
Oh.
there's a 3-drop, right, you can still play it. So that would be good. Tursa Light Shadow would be fantastic, just as a way to find an actual mountain.
Looks like there's both Screaming Nemesis and Tursa available.
Yeah. Tursa seems like it makes more sense right now, given that you're still probably digging.
And there's Tursa Light Shatter.
How many cards do you discard? Oh, okay.
The other
Light
Tursa.
Shatter,
Yeah,
okay.
that is a legend, so
So attack with both, take 1 from the ping. maybe chump block the claw. Oh no, just okay, minimizing the damage that you take. Sure.
Joel plays all the way.
Right.
Sweep the board when you can, chump block when you can. I mean, it makes sense because there could be a temporary lockdown in the near future.
Yeah,
Maybe not this turn.
The only issue also with Joel's hand is even if he gets Omniscience in play, I don't really see a big card draw spell in hand.
Oh, okay.
So. Yeah, so play the tap land. Now is probably going to be looking to use the Afara's Dispersal on Light Shatter, hoping for an Omniscience on top, put that into the graveyard, hoping for Omniscience plus a stock up or something. That would be the ideal situation.
Guess you can dream. There's that mountain now for Perrini, but
is this lethal? Hold on.
Screaming Nemesis hits the battlefield.
Well, not through the Afara's Dispersal, but right. This is 8 damage.
7. 4 after you cast priority. Dispersal?
Oh, and if you want to counter the Surveil, you can just Witchstalker Frenzy the Screaming Nemesis to counter the Dispersal and deal 5 damage to Joel.
And get the emblemy thing.
Right. So that also prevents Beza life gain, right? If Joel just slams a Beza next turn, won't be able to gain life either.
That mountain was key.
Yeah.
There's Burst Lightning in hand too.
You could do that too if you just want to if you want to be able to replay the Screaming Nemesis and not kill it, right? But you still have that emblem to prevent the life gain from the Beza. So
it just feels like the Surveil. Maybe we're saying that because we have a look at Joel's hand, but wow. Would be really, like Joel would have to be pretty frustrated. Like there's so much hope in that Surveil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Pedro's gonna take the lower route here.
Right.
You take 2.
But now Joel gets
Emblem
the dig.
happens, but the Surveil will happen. See if there's an Omniscience and some action in there.
I see a River Regent and an Island.
Okay.
Probably don't want the Island.
Regent is nice for later, but you really need to get to that Omniscience.
Yeah, but the thing is, if Joel goes just binning both, actually. Because if you cast the Regent, you just kind of died to Screaming Nemesis plus Witchstalker Frenzy next turn.
If you cast Coil and Catch, you're not. You can't just do nothing.
Is this a lockdown for one thing?
It is, just for the Hired Claw.
Oh, tapped out. If Pedro draws 1 land here, that is lethal, right? Oh, there it is.
Mountain off the top.
Nemesis attack for 6, Witchstalker Frenzy after damage.
Wow. What a win for Pedro Perrini, having to really thread the needle on, well, all of the games really, but a great win for Mono Red.
Yeah, I mean, those 3-mana haste creatures just do so much. It turns out the key to a temporary lockdown deck is 3 drops. And this Mono Red deck, not only did it have the full 4 copies of Screaming Nemesis, but also the 2 copies of Light Shatter. And that combo is just not, it's just, you don't sniff at that combo. That combo is incredible. He used it both games 1 and game 3 to close out that game with that Witchstalker Frenzy.
He did really, really effective there. And well played by both players. Great stuff to watch some of our regional championship qualifiers as they battle. That's going to do it for this round here from the booth. We're going to take a short break here from Las Vegas. When we come back, we'll be right there at the news desk setting up for the next round. Don't go anywhere.